We're Chris and Megan Hines, and on November 8th, 2018, our lives were changed forever.
Back now to our developing news in Butte County, where a big wildfire, is burning out of control tonight.
Now to those dangerous fires out west. The fast-moving flames tearing through people's backyards, fueled by strong winds, scaring families who packed up their cars to evacuate. The Camp Fire, which has now claimed at least 48 lives.
Up and down California this morning, the state is still smoldering. At the Camp Fire north of Sacramento, complete destruction. Most of the community of Paradise gone. Everywhere you look, charred remains, reminders of what used to be here. More than 8,800 buildings destroyed.
Everything is burnt to the ground.
I'm Steve Patterson in Paradise, California, where nearly the entire town has been incinerated by towering flames.
This, the deadliest fire in California history. 48 killed, more than 200 still missing, 52,000 people evacuated.
The fire took everything.
The Camp Fire destroying all of it. In Paradise, blocks gutted, 29 dead, hundreds missing, whole neighborhoods reduced to ruins.
On the morning of November 8th, as me and the kids were leaving to take my daughters to school, we noticed a really huge cloud that was clearly a smoke cloud. And as we proceeded to the school, it was really evident that this was a really big fire. I just remember standing there with a friend as we're watching this cloud get darker and bigger and just heavier. We locked eyes and we just knew, like, it's time to go. Then went home and grabbed what we could in just a matter of minutes before Chris called, and he was down the mountain at work, and he's like, he had tried to come up to help me pack, and he said, you need to leave now. The fire's on the main road and they won't let me any further, and if you're gonna get out, you gotta leave now. I had to drive through flames. Buildings were already on fire, cars were on fire. Chris and I were able to speak on the phone before they cut all the power and cell phone towers to our area. So we ended up total going just over 6 hours before we heard from each other again. Eventually we got trapped on the main road between power lines falling and just the fire itself, because the fire at that point, the main fire, was moving at a football field every 3 seconds. And so there were just areas of town that there was no warning. I mean, we didn't have an evacuation warning. We're surrounded by flames. Like, we can see the fire all around us. We can see the smoke, and just the amount of smoke, you know everything is on fire.
And you get to a moment where you just feel hopeless. It was at those moments where I had to put my trust fully in Christ and say, Lord, I believe that you are good every single day. I believe that you love my family more than I do. And Lord, I need you to guide them, to protect them, to bring peace in the middle of everything. And Lord, I need help right now to not go insane.
You know, when you're in these moments, these trials, and literally facing the fire, you know, sitting in my van, and your emotions just kind of like waves just kind of crash over you. And, you know, I'd have moments of just kind of panic and not knowing what to do, just sitting there kind of helpless. There's nothing to do. And even though I was helpless, I knew I wasn't hopeless. And I sat there, and I remember just like holding on to the steering wheel and just saying, like, this isn't it, God. Like, you wouldn't have done all that you've done in our lives for this to be it, for this to be our moment to go. And I just knew that we were somehow, some way going to get out of this fire. We eventually were rescued out by a police officer who was going around trying to find kids to get off the mountain. So we were able to go into a sheriff's car with fire rescue off the mountain. There was a moment as we're leaving the mountain that we literally hit a wall of smoke where all of a sudden there's just no more smoke. And it was super bright and shining, and And you come out of that smoke and you're almost blinded by daylight and not knowing like what just happened, and you're kind of stunned for a minute. And I just remember this like moment, relief just crashed over me, and just knowing, okay, we're safe, we're getting out, this is it. And being able to hold on to that hope that whole time, knowing that there was a purpose beyond this.
When that day happened, we had no idea what the fate of our car was, our home was. We just knew that everybody had to get off the mountain safely. It wasn't until Monday till we got our confirmation that we lost our home in the fire. We were also the senior pastors of the church that we led. Our church was gone, and every single person in our church lost their home but 2 people. So within an entire weekend, we ended up losing our entire church family, our community, our home, all of our belongings. We had no idea what we were going to do from this point on. Along with everybody in our church, we watched our church family have to go everywhere just to do what was best for them and their families. We have people in our church that had to move to Washington, Virginia, all over California. It was crazy to see what had happened. And after that, we began to pray, Lord, what are your plans for us? Where are we going to go? What are we going to do? We ended up looking at 5 cities in Texas, 2 in North Carolina, and 2 in Tennessee. And we believe the Lord led us to New Braunfels, Texas. And when we were able to come out, we were able to spend some time with Pastors Ezra and Kendra and the mission team. And we were able to find friendship and find a church that we loved.
For us, moving to Texas, not knowing anyone, it was important for us to be established in a church where we could be just embraced as family. And that's what we have found at Mission. You know, even being an hour away, we have found a family here, and that's why we continue to come.
The point of church is to have that community. And after the fire, when we lost our community, we felt this big hole of, we need people around us. We need people that are going to fight with us, that are going to be understanding, that are going to be inclusive. And that's what Mission Church is about. The Mission Church is about the mission of reaching people and being a blessing to the community and the people that we come in contact with. And that's the heartbeat of this church.